Hi, it's May, and today I wanted to talk about my personal beliefs on transgender and how that came about I've kind of been developing my personal beliefs on transgender for about the past year or so. I think it was a year, maybe a year and a half ago that I started thinking about this a bit more. And the reason that I decided to talk about this now was because I just saw this advertisement on YouTube. Maybe you've seen it. Basically, there was this person who had been a girl and went fishing all the time with her grandfather, or not her grandfather, her uncle, and then her uncle died, and she was talking about how she had always wanted to be this big muscular person, and she knew she was never going to be that way, and she didn't feel confident and everything like that. And I don't know exactly what it was advertising, but it went on to be about confidence and stuff. And I saw some things in the message that I understand were good points, but when I was watching this, it was kind of going against a lot of the stuff that I knew about transgender, and so I kind of felt like I should sit there and address it from my perspective. Okay, I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to start this because I recently, instead of rehearsing and writing everything down, I think it's more flat and it doesn't feel like it comes out for me as much, so I'm kind of freestyling this a little bit more and see how well I can explain this. So I guess I'll start off with the whole confidence issue. So for people a lot of the time who are transgender, my basic understanding of it, the way it's always been said, is they don't feel comfortable in their bodies. They feel like they were meant to be the other gender, and they feel like they'd have more confidence if they had that, and they don't feel like they were meant to be the way that they are. And I can understand this because while I've never wanted to change my gender, I hated my hair to death at one point. And my hair is really, really curly. I always thought it was ugly. I thought other people with curly hair looked ugly. I thought it was stupid. I just wanted to have straight hair. And I kind of started identifying with that, and whenever I'd imagine myself or think about myself in my imagination, it would always be with straight hair. Now, the thing with that is wanting to be a different way goes against who you actually are. And it's not a matter of you're meant to be something else, because I believe God created you to be the way that you are. And I feel like when you want to change that, it's not because you were meant to be the other thing, but more because you're not confident or don't like the way that you are, and feel like you'd be more confident if you were a way that you thought was more attractive, more appealing, more beautiful. And I know that it's not always that case. There are biological things sometimes where someone will actually be, say, a guy in a female's body, and they, like their chemical balance kind of puts it both ways, but they might have the genitals of the opposite gender, and that might be a little bit different. I really don't know. I haven't thought much about that. But the way I'm thinking more is I'm talking about people who grew up and kind of just started realizing, I don't like the way I am, I wish I was this way. And then started saying, well, maybe I was meant to be this way. Maybe I was born to be that way. And one thing I actually want to connect to this is there's a song by Lady Gaga called Born This Way. And I find it very interesting because she's sitting there and she says, like, you're beautiful in your way because God makes no mistakes. No, you were born this way. However you are, you were meant to be that way. So she's sitting there listing off things that you could be and going like, yeah, you were meant to be that way. Now, one thing she says, one line, it goes like, no matter gay, straight, or bi, lesbian, transgendered life. Do you hear that? You were born this way. You were born transgender. You weren't born transgender. You were born your own gender. And if you're really taking her message in account, if you're really taking what she says in the song and applying it, what you should be realizing is, hey, I might be a woman who wants to be a man, but I was born a woman, and that's who I'm meant to be. That's who God made me to be. I was born this way. So I just found that another interesting thing. Now I have this one friend who will be nameless. I'll call him Homer because when I think of nameless, it makes me think of No Man from Homer's Odyssey, or from the Odyssey by Homer. I don't know. We'll just call him Homer. So, Homer is a guy who is kind of a feminine guy. He's attracted to girls, definitely attracted to girls, and he's never shown anything that led me to believe he was attracted to men. But he does like the feminine body. He wishes that he were a woman. And we've had discussions about this before, and I've related this to my thing about my hair, where it's, I understand you think boobs were pretty. When I was little, I wanted them too, and I'm lucky that mine grew to the size that I want. If they had come out smaller than this, I probably wouldn't have been happy, and I would have still felt, well, I wished I had bigger boobs, but I got lucky enough that I actually got them. And so that kind of had this discussion that reinforced everything I kind of told you, and that was actually when I started thinking about this, was when I met him and when I started having these conversations with him about how if there's something you want to change about yourself, whether it be as little as the color of your eyes, whether you had boobs, or whether you just had bigger or smaller boobs, or what texture or color your hair is, or anything like that, it's not because you were meant to be that way. Wanting to be a certain way doesn't mean you were meant to be that way. I mean, I just had to learn to accept my curly hair. And I started doing other things to it. Sometimes I would straighten it, and I started dyeing it too, and that actually made me like it a whole lot more. And I understand the need for confidence. If you're really, really tearing yourself up and it's not healthy, maybe then you can go on, consider actually changing what you feel like you want to change. But I feel like that should be a last resort for if you absolutely cannot accept who you are. But I guess the main thing I want to point out here is that, just because you want to be a certain way or feel like you'd be more comfortable a certain way or can't stand the way that you are, that doesn't mean you were meant to be something else. And I guess that's pretty much all I have to say on this, so yeah. Talk to you guys later.